are safe, that are nurturing, that are secure, and allow us to be able to be raw like that. I think I've mentioned before, and I've had other clients where we've let go of physical items that have allowed them to then have that safety and security. When you're holding on to old energies, particularly, if you're single mums and you've gone through some kind of trauma and you've got past relationships that, you've often got a link with that because you've got a child together. So but you don't know what other ways that you're holding on to that, and having stuff in your home that potentially is connected to you being vulnerable and being in traumatic situations, you're not going to allow yourself to open up again, because that vulnerability is sitting there. It's sitting there still. And until you physically let go of that, you're not going to be able to allow yourself to be vulnerable again and do that inner healing. So it's really important that we look around at our environment and we see the things that are potentially holding us back in that way, that are potentially making us feel unsafe. So they can be physical items, but it's the connection, the way that we are linked to those items that is actually holding us back. I'm working with a client at the moment who went through a very traumatic relationship, very toxic, and she's in a new relationship now, and that there's been sticky things, and she's been feeling really held back and really vulnerable in a lot of situations. And as we've been going through her things, she's still got so many things from that relationship, and the process of letting go of those things, she's getting an inner strength to cope with that co-parenting relationship that she's now having to have, and she can actually step into that and embrace it and have these boundaries and be really strong in that relationship, because she's finally letting go of those links that she had to that past, to that time when, it's hard when we've had past relationships where there are some nice memories, right? There are some nice bits that we want to hold on to, that we don't want to, forget. But actually, you've got to let go of those to be able to put those boundaries in, to be able to then step into your next relationship or your next part of your life. Because without doing that, you're not going to let go of the good memories. You're going to still have those. But when you've got the physical things, you've got an energetic connection to that is going to hold you back, that's going to keep you vulnerable from opening up to the inner healing that you really need to do to be able to move forward.
That is again another powerful, impactful, insightful look into letting go things and wanting to have that transformation we all want to have, but the work that is required, most people don't want to do the work because they are afraid of what's on the other side, or they are afraid of the unknown. If I let this go, they have worn it so long, they have held on to it so long, it becomes a part of them. And that's their identity. Even though the person can be long gone, but they still hold on because that has become their identity. And letting that go has become a way of coping. I think about, as you were speaking of people who have, divorced, or their spouse have passed, and they still hold on, to the decorations in the home. And the next person come in, and that next person can't find themselves because you're still holding on. You may not look at it as a, negative thing or something that's blocking, but the other person can see it, and it's making them feel unwanted. It makes them feel as if they're second. It makes them feel as if they won't have a space, a place in that home. But you're holding on to it because you just haven't let go, and you are afraid of what letting go means, that you're allowing that memory to die, even if it's good memories. No one wants good memories to end. And so holding on to every bit of you know, I would say reality, or that reality as possible, you know. So I just we have two more questions, and I am going to not hold you up because we'll be talking all day. Okay, this is yummy. This is my mind is going. Like I hear a lot of things that you are saying that we can really unpack. You know, gently letting things go. We watched this show called Hoarders. You know, and they have to put different type of tarps on the ground so they could put their items on there, you know. And I'm just looking at how that looks. How, see, that's a question I don't have on here, but I want to tap into that just a minute, because earlier you spoke on softly allowing people to let things go or changing things around. And I'm thinking about the show Hoarders, because you have to be empath during these times. You can't just say you need to let these things go and blah blah blah. That will break a person even more, I believe. It would destroy their whole world and pull, you know, and they won't know how to rebuild, because that was their world, that was their sense of purpose. So let's talk about, you know, just softly, and I actually have two more questions after this you know, little detour. How do you softly approach situations like this when it's not just you know, old things, old memories, but it's good memories, it's things that I'm hoarding? That makes sense. Can I put it like that? How do you approach that?
So as part of the process that I do, so as part of the holistic approach, is we work on mindset. And I don't think personally that you can go through this process without addressing the mindset, because people will just, that's how people spring back to, you know, yeah, let's go and we'll go and declutter. I can go into anyone's home and I can declutter it. But if we're not working on the mindset and we're not working on what has caused that clutter in the first place, or has caused things to get into that position, has caused you holding on to stuff, you're not actually making changes, you're not actually moving forwards. So as part of the KonMari method, you use you leave anything sentimental until the end. So that's something that I really do in my process. So if we come across anything that someone's like, oh, don't know, this is difficult, whatever, it's put to one side, because as you go through the process, by the time you get to those items, people are like, they're feeling the difference, the energies are changing, and it becomes much easier for them to make those decisions. But I don't ever, you know, it's not for me to tell anyone what they need to get rid of. I'm not going to be like, you know, right, you can only keep 5 books, or you can only keep this, you know, you keep as much as you want. It's your home, you know, your journey. But what I can do is I can ask the questions. I can challenge the beliefs. I can get them to get into that thought process, thinking about, well, why am I holding on to these items? What's going on? It's challenging those beliefs. It's challenging those limiting beliefs that make people hoarders. Are people who are often very fearful. They're people who are often very you know, have been through a lot of traumas in their life, and they are holding on to stuff because it makes them feel safe, it makes them feel secure. So there's no way I am ripping that away, because that's the worst thing you can do when someone's feeling unsafe, they're not feeling secure, when they're feeling fearful. So what I would do in that situation is I go, okay, so what we need to unpack is why. Where's it come from? So if you're doing this for yourself, and you've got items and you think, yeah, but I can't let go of these. You have to say, why? Why can't I? What is it that I am holding on to? What is it that I'm fearful of? What is it that I'm scared of? There are so many of us. I mean, for goodness sake, we hold on to, like, you know, empty egg cartons because you're like, yeah, but I might need it, you know? What if something happens and I need this? Or, you know, the screws from, so you know, the spare screws that you get when you've like put together flat pack furniture or whatever, and you're like, yeah, but I better keep those, because what if something happens? Yeah, but what if it doesn't? You know,
Right.
and if it does, it doesn't matter. You'll get something that will help you with that. You'll go and get a new one of those. You know, I'm not going to say that everything that you get rid of, you're not going to go, if I had that now, that would be really useful. But it's not going to end your world. It's not going to be something that, and it's unpacking all of that. It's unpacking the thought processes, the why people are scared. And it often will go back to childhood. It'll often go back to how people have been brought up. If people have grown up with not having a lot of things, they often want to hold on to stuff because they're fearful of not having anything again. They're fearful of not having the money to buy stuff again. They want to have the best. They want to have all of these things around them. And it's about I would gently challenge those. I would gently ask the questions and say, well, why? What's going to happen if that if you don't have that item in your life? How does that look for you? What are you scared of? What are you worried about? And when you start painting that picture, because one of the things that I do with my clients is we always set a goal or an intention at the beginning. What is your intention? What is your goal for this? And that's really similar to business, right? You've got to have a goal and an intention in mind, because otherwise you're just going to be blindly going. So so when we get to these tricky moments, I bring them back to that. How does this fit in to your goal, to your intention, to your life that you're trying to get to? Does this fit into that? Because if it doesn't, then it needs to go. So it's looking at challenging those beliefs, challenging those reasons in a gentle way, in a way that is right for them, but making them think, making them look outside the box and visualize what it would be like without those items in their life, and whether that makes them feel good or whether that makes them feel bad, and why. Because until we understand that, we can't possibly understand the power of letting go of that.
Yeah. I love it. I love being in a position of power. I
Mm-hmm.
love the authority that we have been given. We don't have to allow circumstances to dictate our destiny. Our decisions determines our destiny. And I think that's what you're doing, helping them to decide because of their destiny. If they see themselves here, then these are the decisions,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to have to make, which you went through a series of asking the right questions. That's all of what's your I can. It is a strategic question so that you could position yourself in the right vein for your destiny and what you're trying to achieve. Two more questions, and I am going to allow you to be. Mental health and addiction support are essential aspects of your background.
Mm-hmm.
How do these experiences inform and influence your approach to helping others through their personal transformations?
Yeah. So my background is working in mental health and addiction support, and I've worked in prisons and with a lot of young offenders and a lot of charities within the UK. And again, that was helping people reach their I can, right? Because when people are in that addictive cycle, when they're struggling with their mental health, it's the first thing that you need to do is empower them with the feeling that they can come out of that they can have a life that is not surrounded around addiction. And that's what I do with people with their homes, because so many people that I work with have these beliefs. Yeah, but my house will always be messy. I've got kids. I've got a messy house. I'm on my own, so I can't keep up with everything. A lot of, particularly with neurodivergence, but I'm lazy. A lot of people believe, it doesn't matter as the amount of times that I organize everything, and then it still just gets like this again. And that's where I can draw on that support. It's very hard to get someone who has been addicted to drugs for years to believe that they can have a sober life. And so those skills that I learn, I can utilize now to help people to understand that they can have that home. They can have that home while they've got young children in it. They can have that home while they're really busy and they're building a business. They don't have to wait until they're retired. You know, this belief that we have that you have a tidy home when, you know, your kids leave home and you're retired and you've got, you know, you see the gardens and you go, oh, that's a retired person, right? Because they've got the time to make their garden beautiful and stuff. We have these beliefs in society that
Exactly.
that is what, you know, you only have the time then. You
Yeah.
can't possibly have a beautiful home or a tidy garden and those things when you've got young children and you're building
Right.
up a business. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And it doesn't have to be at the extent of anything else in your life. It's just about finding the tools and strategies that make it easy and simple. And that's what I do.
Exactly. And I love it. I'm often, you know, when those type of rebuttals come up, I challenge that by saying something I learned from this movie called Coming to America. And at one scene, the daughter, the youngest daughter, was talking to the servant of Hakeem, and but she said that he was the prince. And the king said, "Who told you that?" So that is something that I hold on and I tell other people and I share what I am, you know, like you, breaking limiting beliefs and challenging society and breaking the status quo. Who told you that? Then where did they get it from? There's this story about this woman. She was making turkey and no ham, and she would cut the ends of the ham off. So her husband asked, "Why do you cut the ends of the ham off?" And she was like, "Well, I don't know. This is what I saw my mother did." So she called and asked the mother, "Mom, why do you cut the ends of the ham off?" She didn't know. That's what she saw her mother did. So the daughter called her grandmother. So her grandmother said, "Well, the pen that I was using was too small. In order to make it fit, I had to cut off the ends." So when you ask the right questions, you can trace it back and you get to the root of the reason being. And you was like, "Oh, well, this don't have anything to do with me right now. I don't have to waste my ends anymore. I can
Yeah,
keep my full ham and everything cooked, or I could just buy a bigger pan."
yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
So right. So tracing back where you have these limiting beliefs, someone that's with addiction, a lot of times their environment says that you will
Mhm.
never get off of this. You
Yeah.
know, you're going to always be this is what your dad was, this is what your mom was, and
Mhm.
this is who you're going to be. And this is what I create. And so now they have that embedded in them. And that's where your
Mhm.
work come in to help
Yeah.
them break through those limiting beliefs. Said, who
Mhm.
told you that? Where did you get this information from?
Yeah.
Because it's a whole lie. It's not the truth of who you are.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Last
Exactly.
question for you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say exactly that. It's you know, it's that ham analogy. It's like, you know, you're not getting everything that you could be because you're listening to those limiting beliefs that actually, you know, were true then but aren't true now. You know, they don't have to be your truth. Just because it was your grandmother's truth doesn't mean it has to be your truth. And by living by other people's truths, you limit yourself and you keep yourself small, and you have to find your own truths and your own beliefs, and that's when you step into your power.
Exactly. The position of power is when you find your own truths and your
Yeah.
own beliefs and you live in those. Can you give our listeners a glimpse into a real life success story where your strategies and support led to a significant positive change in someone's life, demonstrating the power of transforming living and working spaces?
Yeah, well, can I actually? I'd like to talk about um, the impact on me actually,
Oh,
and my space, because that has been really significant. And in actual fact, I want to talk. I want to mention me because I've just done it again. So I it's really interesting. I was talking with another feng shui specialist, and it's really important where I know how to do all this stuff, right? But I need someone to look at my space and help me at times, because I'm in it and I can't always see the best. And I have just recently had huge success. So our sleeping arrangements in our house, my 3 daughters sleep in with me because that's the way they sleep and they're happy. And so we all just sleep in together. And my husband works shifts and he has to get up very early in the morning. So he sleeps in another room, and he wasn't sleeping very well in this room. And I had one of the rooms as an office, and I was like, I'm finding it really difficult to get on with work. I kept feeling really tired. And just having this outside eye looking in, they were like, you know, you need to swap those round, right? And I swapped them round, and I'm not kidding you, my husband is sleeping like a log.
Wow.
And I am getting so much more work achieved, because what I had done wrong was that the front of my house is what we call a very yin energy. So it's a very, it's really good for sleep. It's much more low key energy. It's north facing. So it gets a bit of sun in the morning, but it doesn't get much sun. So it doesn't have that energizing effect. So it's a much better side of the house to have sleeping rooms. And the back of the house is south facing, and it's really yang. It gets loads of sunshine. And so, of course, that needs to be the space that I have my office, and it's going to bring me that uplifting energy. It's going to create so much drive and stuff. And I moved my desk to face in a much better direction for me, because at the moment I'm really trying to grow my business. So I'm actually facing in the direction that is going to help me, and it's my personal direction that works well for me, because we have our own personal directions that work well as generalized directions. So I'm facing that direction because that's what I want. I want growth, and that's what's happening for me now that I've stepped into that. So what I want to make with that point is that just because you do it now doesn't mean that you don't change it later on, because when we're on a journey, things are changing all the time. And this is particularly true with our children. So as they're getting older, their needs change all the time. So, I mean, you constantly feel like you're going through their clothes, sorting their clothes and sorting their toys and sorting them, because it just gets more and more and more. And so you need to keep reassessing. You need to keep going, okay, is this still working for us? So if you can do it, right? I've done it and I had great success. I had so much change in my life. I was able to do so much deep healing. I mean, the fact that I'm doing this speaking now is just huge for me because of where I was. But I have to keep remembering that I have to keep checking in and making those tweaks, because otherwise we can still stay stuck. It's not a one and done thing, because, and in fact, I was talking to another feng shui person who does have the approach. She says one and done. For me, I don't agree with that, because I think that we're always growing and developing. And although we have these goals and intentions, they can twist and change as different things happen with us. So the main goal and intention can be there, but the small goals and intentions that we have along the way can change and can take us off on other paths. And that means that our homes need to reflect that. They need to change. They need to develop with us, because otherwise we'll just stay stuck all the time. We'll just stay in one place. And that's why I like to gift the tools and strategies that I use to my clients, so that they can continue the work themselves, that they can keep checking in on themselves. They can keep seeing, they can learn to read. They can go, oh, I'm not feeling great. Things are feeling stuck. Right. Let me look around. What can I change? What can I do to push to get that going again. And very much so for our children as well. They're developing at such a rate that if you get to a point, your children can be sleeping great and then all of a sudden not sleeping. So it's like, okay, well, just because we sorted it and we got that routine right and we got that room right for them then, let's have a look again now. Maybe we need to make some more changes. Maybe we need to move some things around or let go of some stuff. It may be that they need to let go of some things because actually they're holding on to stuff that's holding them back. So we've got to keep checking in all the time. And so I wanted to share that story because, I'm walking the walk, okay? I'm not saying that I've got it all sussed. I'm saying that I have to look at times and go, what can I change even now, even though I've done the work, even though I've made the changes before? It doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and go, I've got it all worked out and, my life's just smooth sailing, because actually sometimes we've got to make those changes again, and the impacts can be huge.
I love it. I really do, because like you stated, we're ever grown. We are evolving, right? We're learning. When you want a promotion, you have to learn something new to get the promotion that you're wanting, right? You can't stay the same. You got to learn new skills. They call it up skills. You got to learn new skills. You got to learn, you go through an interning period or a training period under the person that you may, who may be, calling you for that position. And so, yeah, you have to keep repositioning, changing things around. It breaks creativity in you. I find that to be true. My mom found that to be true. When we were younger, she would always change up the house. She loves to decorate, but she understood the power of switching things up. When you switch things up, you feel better, and then you can flow better. So I love that you are your own transformation story. With the whole process. Not only do you work with others, but you can say, this is what I've had to do, and also my clients have had to do this, and I've worked with people in the mental and the addiction space that had to do this. They had to reposition themselves. They had to change. You change from your environment, right? That's repositioning. You have to change the way you're thinking, so you're relocating yourself. You can't stay in the same environment and expect to grow. You have to reposition for growth. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And just very quickly on that, if you're ever feeling stuck or, things are feeling like not great, move your furniture around. In feng shui, they say move 27 things and you'll see change. So even if it's just moving a photo frame from one side of the shelf to another side of the shelf, it moves the energy, it changes things, it creates that flow that can spark new ideas, new visions, new creativity. So never just keep things as they are. Always be thinking of ways to get things moving.
Right. And have a time frame, even if you don't feel like, oh, it's time for me to move. Hey, spring, summer, winter, fall. Those are always good time frames to move around, to switch things up. That's why they make things for the fall, because you need something different to look at to enjoy a life, a fulfilled life, or it'll get mundane. You'll get tired, you get bored. And then, like you were stating, you'll become stuck and you lose all your creative juices because now you're just stuck. You become meh. You just there's no expressions, no happiness and joy. How can we connect with you? How can my listeners connect with you so they can work with you on any level?
Yeah, sure. So Instagram is the best platform to find me on. So I'm calm_space_calm mind. I do also have a Facebook group, Calm Space Calm Mind, which is free to come and join. I'm branching into TikTok at the moment, which is super exciting, but it's very new to me at the moment. So, but do look for me on there as well. Yeah, so although I'm in the UK, I do a lot of my work virtually, and I'm actually at the moment in the process of launching 2 memberships, which are supporting people to be able to do this work. So you've got access to me within those memberships, and support to do all of this work yourself and go through the steps yourself. So it's a really great affordable way to access the support that I give, because I'm really passionate. I want everyone to be able to do this, and not just do it once, but to continue to do it, and to continue to be in a community that is also doing that and is supporting, and where you can bounce ideas off each other and stuff. So yeah, please come and connect with me and ask me any questions and stuff. I love to hear people's stories, and to, you know, offer my advice, and just connect with people. It's great. So
thank you so much, Emily, for your time. You are a true expert in what you are doing. I pray much success to you and your future and what is to come. Thank you so much for being on What's Your Eye Candy Conversations.
thank you.
Okay, so you guys, you have heard it here. Listen, the What's Your I Can Book Club offers a wonderful opportunity for meaningful connections and introspective discussions. By joining together in dialogue, we can gently nudge ourselves to question our existing perspectives and fearlessly embrace fresh approaches to life, leadership, and love. My tongue, blah, 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 blah. This exchange of thoughts and viewpoints allows us the precious chance to delve into our inner selves, fostering personal growth and potentially inspiring positive transformations. Listen, the book club is starting in a couple of weeks, and you need to be in it, because wonderful things are already happening inside of the book club. So make sure that you grab your book. What's Your I Can? Realize Your I Can in Purpose, Business, and Family. Join the book club. You will get all of this links and stuff in the details, right? And, you know, let's grow together, okay? So it's nothing more than a space where you can come, no judgment, freedom to discuss, but being mindful of that every person comes from a different background, a different walk of life, and we're coming together to realize our I Can and Purpose, Business, and Family. This is your girl, Christy Angelie. I love you all. Have a beautifully blessed day.